Ludmila, Alexei announced, I have made my decision. We must be together. Tomorrow I will move in with you. Alexei's phone conversation this afternoon had been preceded by a day of deep introspection about his life. Alexei had had a moment of realization the night before, when he felt he was capable of more than just being a husband and father. Alexei, come eat. Zinaida called from the kitchen. Dinner is ready. I'll be right there, Alexei replied from his study, slightly agitated. I have some things to finish up. Reflecting on the situation, Alexei felt overwhelmed by the weight of responsibilities and expectations. He felt a strong desire to do something new and interesting. What if it all works out? Pondered Alexei. It could be amazing, especially now that there's so much talk about increasing the birth rate. Why should I sit on the sidelines? I have the potential to accomplish more. I can't miss this opportunity. Alexei's decision was influenced by his age, his deep feelings for Ludmila, and his desire to explore uncharted territories in his life. His afternoon call was the result of a day spent thinking about his future. Yesterday before dinner, the realization came to Alexei that he was not living the life he wanted to live. He felt a lump in his throat, overwhelmed by his responsibilities. He had so much to do, and Zinaida seemed to think only of food. He questioned who he was living with, and believed he could be something more. He had the potential to do something meaningful, especially since he had everything he needed to do it. Go eat, his wife called out from the kitchen. Everything's getting cold. Coming, Alexei almost shouted. I'm on my way. That's good, Alexei thought excitedly, imagining himself as the husband of another woman, not the one who had called him for dinner. The mention of his wife made Alexei furrow his eyebrows. There are so many obstacles on the road to happiness, Alexei pondered. So many trials, but we must face them, overcome them. Life is like a constant run with obstacles, but we have to find a way to cope with it all. We must keep on living. How else can we achieve happiness? Alexei pondered how to resolve this issue with Zinaida. Are you coming or not? Came Zinaida's voice from the kitchen. There's no need to ponder, Alexei thought calmly. The decision is obvious. I'll just keep silent about it to Zinaida. It's all very simple. Why complicate my life? No need to upset a good woman and the mother of my 3 children. Real men don't do that. Especially when Zinaida doesn't deserve it. Let her stay in blissful ignorance and contentment. Even after resolving all issues with his wife, Alexei remained dissatisfied with the situation. Now he faced a new dilemma. What to do with Ludmila? Will you eat or not? Came Zinaida's voice again. I'll be right there, Alexei retorted. Just finishing up. Before I join you, I will settle one more matter. I will inform Ludmila that I have separated from my wife, reasoned Alexei. That's the right thing to do. She doesn't need to know the whole truth. Like Zinaida, Ludmila is a wonderful woman who deserves to be happy. It's better that good women don't know some of the details. They tend to misinterpret everything and draw wrong conclusions, and that can cause us good men to suffer. Tomorrow, I'll call Ludmila from work, and we can plan our bright future together. When things were back on track between Ludmila and Alexei, he was finally able to enjoy a quiet dinner. Confident that he was talking to Ludmila, he asked, Can you hear me, my love? Zinaida replied in a calm tone, I hear, beloved. Speak, I'm listening. Zinaida was sure that Alexei would recognize her voice and understand the truth. However, their voices were so similar that Alexei did not notice anything and continued the conversation without suspecting anything. That's what I was saying, Alexei continued. I have everything planned. I'm leaving my wife, and tomorrow we're going to start a happy life together. Just you and me, and no one will come between us. Zinaida thought, he didn't recognize my voice and thinks I'm Ludmila. It's not a coincidence. I'll continue the conversation, and then we'll see. Zinaida asked, Have you talked to your wife? Alexei replied, "With Zinaida, yes?" Zinaida found this question strange and wondered if he had another wife besides her. But given the current situation, she wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. She decided to find out later. "Yes, there was," Zinaida replied. Alexei said, "Of course you were. How could it be otherwise? What do you take me for, Ludmila?" Last night, before dinner, Zinaida and I had a very productive conversation. We discussed everything. She's an intelligent woman. She understands everything and doesn't object. Does that surprise you? Zinaida calmly replied, "Not at all. I always knew that sooner or later you would break up. I understand how unbearable it is to live with a woman who despises you." "Does she despise me?" asked Alexei to Ludmila. "Despises is putting it mildly," Alexei replied Zinaida. "She hates you. I'm glad you finally realized that and are leaving your wife. Why did you wait so long? Did you really enjoy living in a toxic environment of lies and hatred?" "What lies are you talking about, Ludmila?" inquired Alexei. "Don't pretend you don't understand anything," Zinaida replied. "Didn't you know that your wife has been deceiving you for a long time? I thought you knew everything, but you put up with her for the sake of the children. Have you really been so remorseless?" "I had no idea, Ludmila," exclaimed Alexei. "I can't believe that this concerns my Zinaida. How do you know all this?" "I'm not the only one," Zinaida smirked. "Rumors about your wife are all over town. I didn't want to tell you about it, but everyone knows. Many of our acquaintances have seen Zinaida with other men." "With other men? With whom? Why didn't anyone tell me?" demanded Alexei. "We didn't want to upset you. We were trying to protect your feelings. People were afraid you might hurt yourself if you found out. By the way, did you do a paternity test?" "Why would I need one?" puzzled Alexei. Zinaida suggested, "Maybe you won't have to pay child support. I mean, after you divorce her. Although I heard that in our time still pay alimony." "Oh, Alexei, life can be so complicated, don't you think?" Alexei nervously replied, "Probably not simple, even probably not simple. But I don't understand how she could." Zinaida exclaimed, "She? My dear, your wife is capable of much more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if she is already planning something terrible against you." Alexei asked fearfully, "Terrible?" Zinaida replied, "She's in such a state right now that she's capable of anything. And you were wrong to be so frank with her yesterday. You don't even realize what you risked." Alexei asked, "Risked what?" "In my life, of course. What else?" replied Zinaida. "Are you serious?" Alexei inquired. "More than serious. Do you want my advice?" Zinaida asked. "I very much do," Alexei said. Zinaida advised, "You'd better never come home again." Alexei asked anxiously, "How can I do that? What about my things?" Zinaida asked, "Are things more precious to you than life?" Alexei replied, "Life is more precious. But is it really that serious?" Zinaida reluctantly confessed, "I didn't want to tell you my love, but circumstances forced me to." "Your wife called me today," Alexei inquired. "How did she call? How did she get your number?" "While you were asleep, she checked your phone and discovered it." "But it's password protected," Alexei said, puzzled. "You're so stubborn," thought Zinaida. "You see, there's a password on it." "Well, then she must have hacked it," Zinaida suggested. "Don't you know your wife?" "It seems I don't," Alexei replied quietly. "So what did she tell you?" "She said that if she catches you, she won't let you off the hook," Zinaida responded. "And if she catches both of us, she won't spare either of us." "What a nightmare," Alexei remarked. "What do we do now?" "I have no clue how you're going to manage now," Zinaida thought to herself. "I didn't want to have to tell you this, Alexei," Zinaida said. "But there won't be an us. I don't want to risk my life because of you. You may have everything to lose, but I'm just starting out. So my advice to you, Alexei, is to go far away from Moscow. "Away to where?" Alexei inquired. "To a place where you're unknown," Zinaida replied. "Maybe then you'll be safe, and Zinaida won't find you. Don't contact me again." "But don't call. We must part ways. It's too risky. That's final. I can't say more." "Why, Ludmila? Let's continue talking. I'm frightened." "I'm scared too, but I'm certain your wife is eavesdropping on our conversation right now." "No," Alexei stated confidently. "That is not possible. My phone has strong protection. I assure you that your concerns are unnecessary. None of this can happen." "Let's put it to the test," Zinaida proposed. "I will disconnect now, and we will wait to see if your wife calls you back. If she doesn't, then you are right, and my concerns are baseless. But if I am right, you will refrain from calling me again." "Understood." Alexei heard a brief beep and grew anxious. He pondered on how to proceed. Just then, Zinaida called him. "Alexei, I overheard everything," Zinaida said, attempting to alter her voice. "Your Ludmila knows too much. I will handle her first, and then I will deal with you." Once again, Alexei heard the sound of a buzzing phone. He wanted to call Ludmila immediately, but he recalled her warning and contemplated his actions. To call or not to call? Alexei pondered. "I must be brave. Ludmila needs to know of the danger. I'll say just a few words." Alexei dialed Ludmila's number, determined not to make any mistakes this time. "Luda, listen carefully and remain silent," Alexei spoke urgently. "You were right. Zinaida is eavesdropping on my phone. She is planning something terrible against you. Be cautious. Don't try to find me. I will leave Moscow tonight, and I won't disclose my whereabouts. You understand why? And I concur, it's best if we never meet again. Goodbye." "I don't understand, Alexei," Ludmila managed to say before the line went dead. In response, Alexei removed the SIM card, broke it into pieces and discarded it. He then scanned his surroundings, ensuring no one was watching, and forcefully smashed his phone onto the pavement. He collected the shattered remains and threw them away in a nearby trash bin. Alexei thought with a smug grin, "You won't get it. Look for it." He scanned his surroundings, preparing for what was to come. "Now run," he thought urgently. "Run as fast as you can. Hope is not yet lost. There is still a chance to save oneself." He realized with regret that he had parted with Ludmila. They could have lived a happy life together, but life had decreed otherwise. Nevertheless, he would always cherish the fact that it was thanks to her that he had learned the truth. She had opened his eyes, and he would be forever grateful to her for that. "Thank you, Ludmila," he whispered. "I hope fate will bring us together again. But if not, then it was not meant to be." As night fell, Alexei disappeared into obscurity, walking off in a direction known only to him.